The ancient warning beacon activated for the first time in 5,000 years, and Grand Arbiter Xyloth Krane felt his 3 hearts stop. The crystalline display showed impossible data, human biosignatures. Thousands of them. Approaching the former Sol system at speeds that defied known physics. Ships that registered on sensors but looked like nothing in any database, organic and technological simultaneously, beautiful and terrifying. "This cannot be accurate," Xyloth said, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "Verify the readings." His sensor technician, a young Valtharian named Priska Von, worked frantically. "Verification complete, Grand Arbiter. The signatures are genuine. Homo sapiens. The species that vanished 5 millennia ago. They are returning. But where have they been? Why did they leave? And how?" He stopped, staring at the display. "Those ships. Are we certain they are ships? They look almost alive." "We are not certain of anything, sir. Except that they are here. And they are requesting permission to enter the Sol system." Xyloth felt a chill that had nothing to do with temperature. The Sol system had been colonized by the Valtharian Confederacy 2,000 years ago, after humanity's mysterious disappearance. Earth itself was now home to 3 billion Valtharian citizens. The entire inner system had been terraformed and developed into one of the Confederacy's most prosperous regions. And now the original inhabitants were asking permission to return home. "What do we tell them?" "I suggest we tell them the truth," Priska said quietly. "That we thought they were extinct. That we colonized their worlds because they were empty. That we did not know they would ever return. And if they are angry? If they want their worlds back? Then, Grand Arbiter, we face the most dangerous first contact scenario imaginable. We are dealing with a species that somehow vanished completely 5,000 years ago and has now returned with technology that makes our most advanced vessels look primitive. If they are angry, we may not survive the conversation." Xyloth made the decision that would define the rest of his life. "Open a channel. Let us speak with the humans. And let us hope they are in a forgiving mood." The face that appeared on the display was human, but not quite as records showed. The woman had the basic structure, 2 eyes, bilateral symmetry, expressive features. But her eyes held depths that seemed to contain stars. Her skin had a faint luminescence. And when she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that made Xyloth's translator struggle. "I am Zenith Commander Lyra Castellan of the Unified Human Collective. We have returned to our ancestral home after a long absence. We understand you have established presence in our former territory. We would like to discuss this situation peacefully. I am Grand Arbiter Xyloth Krane of the Valtharian Confederacy. On behalf of my people, I must ask, where have you been? Why did humanity disappear 5,000 years ago? We found your worlds empty. No bodies. No evidence of disaster. Just empty cities and abandoned technology. We thought you were extinct." Lyra's expression was difficult to read. "We were not extinct. We were evolving. Humanity reached a critical juncture 5 millennia ago. We had 2 choices: continue our expansion as we were, limited by biology and the speed of light, or attempt something unprecedented. We chose the latter." "What did you attempt?" "We left this dimension entirely. We uploaded our consciousness into a construct that exists outside normal spacetime. We have spent 5,000 years exploring realities you cannot imagine. Learning. Growing. Becoming something more than what we were." Xyloth felt his primary brain struggle to process this. "You uploaded your entire species? Billions of humans just left physical reality? 7 billion, to be precise. Every human alive at the time made the choice. We left the physical universe behind and journeyed into realms of pure information and consciousness. We have experienced things that cannot be adequately described in linear language. We have seen the underlying code of reality. We have touched the fundamental nature of existence itself. And now you are returning? Why? If you have transcended physical reality, Why come back? Lyra's smile was sad. Because we learned something important. Consciousness without embodiment is incomplete. Information without physical instantiation loses meaning. We became powerful beyond measure. But we also became disconnected from the universe we left behind. We lost something essential to being human. So we are returning. Not to reclaim what we left, but to rejoin the physical universe as partners with those who remained. You do not intend to retake Earth? To expel us from your former worlds? No. We have no interest in conquest. We have colonized entire dimensions. A few planets in physical space are irrelevant to us. But we would like to establish presence here again. To reconnect with physical reality. To remember what it means to exist in matter and energy rather than pure thought. Xyloth felt relief so profound that his bioluminescence flared. Then perhaps we can reach an accommodation. The Confederacy controls 300 systems. The Sol system is important to us, but we are willing to negotiate shared governance if you approach this peacefully. We do not need governance. We need only small presence. A single city on Earth would suffice. A place where humans can remember their origins. A connection point between the dimension we inhabited and the physical universe. In exchange, we offer something of value. What could you possibly offer us that you have not already taken? Knowledge. Technology. Understanding of reality that your species will not achieve for 10,000 years of conventional development. We have seen how the universe works at its deepest levels. We know things that could transform every species in physical reality. We are willing to share this knowledge. To uplift those who remained behind. To bring everyone to the level we achieved. Why would you do this? What do you gain? Companions. We spent 5,000 years alone with only ourselves. We discovered that evolution without diversity becomes stagnant. We need others who can challenge us. Question us. Help us continue growing. You and other physical species provide that. You are not competitors. You are necessary partners in a universe far stranger than any of us imagined. The negotiation took 6 months. Representatives from the Veltharian Confederacy, the Kryn Alliance, the Thraxian Empire, and a dozen other civilizations met with human ambassadors to determine how humanity would reintegrate into physical space. The humans were patient, accommodating, almost absurdly willing to accept limitations that they could clearly override if they chose. They asked for only a small island on Earth, Australia, which had been minimally developed by the Veltharians. They asked for permission to establish small embassy facilities on a dozen other worlds. They asked for the right to share their knowledge freely with any species interested. In return, they offered everything. This is too generous, Xyloth said during one of their private conversations. Zenith Commander, you are offering us technology that would let us ascend as you did. You are offering to teach us how to transcend physical limitations. You ask for almost nothing. Why? Lyra looked at him with those star-filled eyes. Because we learned something during our absence. Do you know what the greatest discovery was in 5,000 years of exploring other dimensions? What? That meaning comes from connection. That consciousness without relationship is empty. That transcendence without companionship is just elaborate isolation. Grand Arbiter, we achieved apotheosis. We became something that your species would call gods. We could reshape reality with thought. We could exist across infinite timelines simultaneously. We could perceive the fundamental code of existence. She paused. And we were miserable. Because we were alone. Because there was no one to share our discoveries with. No one to challenge our conclusions. No one to laugh at our jokes or mourn our losses. We had become the most advanced consciousness in our corner of the multiverse. And we hated it. So you are returning because you were lonely? We are returning because we learned that progress without connection is meaningless. Yes, we were lonely. But more than that, we were incomplete. Humanity evolved as a social species. We need others. Not just other humans, but other perspectives. Other ways of thinking. Other forms of consciousness. You and every other species in physical reality represent that. You are not primitives we must uplift. You are essential partners in understanding a universe neither of us can comprehend alone. Xyloth thought about this for a long moment. You are saying you need us as much as we need you. Exactly. We have technology and knowledge. You have perspective and diversity. Together, we can continue the journey that neither species can complete alone. That is why we are so generous. Because this is not charity. It is enlightened self-interest. We want you to join us. To ascend with us. To bring your unique viewpoint to the great questions we are still trying to answer. What questions remain for beings who have transcended physical reality? The most important ones. Why does existence exist? What is the purpose of consciousness? Where does the universe come from and where is it going? Is meaning inherent or constructed? We have incredible tools for investigation. But we need more minds asking these questions from different angles. That is what we are offering. Not a gift, but an invitation to join the greatest research project in existence. 1 year after humanity's return, the first ascension protocols were shared. Any species, any individual, could choose to follow humanity's path. To upload their consciousness and explore other dimensions. Or they could remain in physical reality, enhanced by technology that made conventional physics look like kindergarten mathematics. The galaxy transformed. Species that had been rivals became partners. Civilizations that had warred for centuries found common purpose. Because humanity had shown them something revolutionary, that transcendence was not escape, but expansion. That becoming more did not mean leaving others behind. That the greatest adventure was not conquering the universe, but understanding it together. Xyloth stood on Earth, on actual Earth, for the first time in his life. The Veltharian colony had been peacefully relocated to Mars, with human technological assistance making the migration trivial. Australia had been returned to its original inhabitants, and the island was now a city that looked like crystallized thought made physical. Lyra walked beside him, her form solidifying from quantum probability as she materialized in physical space. She did this often now, moving between dimensions as easily as he might walk through a doorway. Do you regret it? Xyloth asked. Coming back? You had achieved godhood. You gave it up to return to physical limitation. We did not give it up. We expanded it. We can still access the dimensions we explored. But now we can also do this. She knelt and picked up a handful of earth soil, letting it run through her fingers. We can feel texture. Temperature. Weight. These things seem trivial to a consciousness that can perceive 17 dimensions simultaneously. But they are not trivial. They are anchors. Connections to reality. Reminders that existence is not just mathematics and information. It is experience. Sensation. The ineffable quality of being. I am scheduled for ascension next month, Xyloth said quietly. I will upload my consciousness and join the collective intelligence that is exploring those other dimensions. Are you frightened? Terrified. But also excited. Your species proved it is possible. That we can evolve beyond our limitations without losing ourselves. That is a gift beyond measure. Just remember one thing, Lyra said. When you ascend, when you experience the incredible beauty and complexity of higher dimensions, do not forget to return. Do not forget the value of physical experience. Do not make the mistake we made thinking that transcendence means abandoning the universe you came from. True evolution is not escape. It is integration. Becoming more while remaining connected to what you were. I will remember. And Zenith Commander, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for sharing what you learned. Thank you for showing us that advancement does not require conquest. That the strong can lift others without diminishing themselves. That the universe is not a competition but a collaboration. Lyra smiled. You are welcome. But understand, we did not do this out of altruism alone. We need you. We need your perspective. Your questions. Your unique way of perceiving reality. 5,000 years of human-only consciousness taught us that diversity is not just morally good. It is functionally necessary. Monolithic thinking, no matter how advanced, becomes trapped in its own patterns. We need others to break those patterns. To show us what we are missing. To be partners in understanding rather than subjects to govern. 3,000 years after humanity's return, Xyloth, now existing simultaneously in physical form and across 17 dimensions, stood in the Great Assembly. Representatives from 47 species, most of them ascended to various degrees, gathered to discuss the latest discovery. The universe was not alone. They had detected signals from other universes. Other realities. Other collections of consciousness asking the same fundamental questions. We propose establishing contact, Lyra said. She looked much as she had 3,000 years ago, choosing to maintain a primarily human form despite having long since transcended such limitations. We have learned to navigate the space between realities. We can reach these other universes. Begin dialogue. Is it safe? Asked a representative from the Thoraxian Collective, a civilization that had ascended shortly after humanity's return. Probably not, Lyra admitted. These other universes may be hostile. They may see us as threats. They may attempt to destroy us or subsume us. But they may also be friends. Allies. Partners in the great endeavor of understanding existence. We will not know unless we try. You have not changed, Xyloth observed. 3,000 years of ascension in humanity is still driven by curiosity and the willingness to take enormous risks. Should we change? These traits served us well. They led us to transcendence. They brought us back when we realized transcendence alone was empty. They convinced us to share what we learned rather than hoard it. Why abandon what works? Because it is dangerous. Because one day your curiosity will encounter something that even ascended consciousness cannot survive. Perhaps. But a universe without risk is a universe without growth. A consciousness without challenge is a consciousness without purpose. We did not survive 5,000 years alone just to become cautious. We survived because we refused to accept limits. And we are not stopping now. The vote was called. 47 species. 47 civilizations that had followed humanity's path to various degrees. All of them choosing whether to risk everything by reaching out to other universes. The result was unanimous. They would reach out. They would take the risk. Because humanity had taught them something fundamental, that the greatest danger was not attempting the impossible and failing. The greatest danger was accepting limitation and stagnating. The first contact with another universe occurred on a Tuesday. Or what would have been a Tuesday if physical time still had meaning at that level of existence? The other universe was populated by consciousness so alien that even ascended beings struggled to communicate. But they managed. Through mathematics. Through shared patterns. Through the universal language of existence trying to understand itself. And the message they received changed everything. There are more. Thousands of universes. Millions. An infinite hierarchy of realities, each one home to consciousness asking the same questions we ask. Wondering why existence exists. Searching for meaning. Trying to understand. And has anyone found answers? Lyra asked the alien consciousness. Some claim to have. But their answers differ. Which suggests either that existence has multiple valid interpretations or that no one has found the true answer yet. We propose a new endeavor. A collaboration across all realities. Every universe. Every form of consciousness. Working together to ask questions none of us can answer alone. Lyra felt something she had not experienced in 3,000 years: genuine humility. You are saying that even at this level of advancement, we are still children asking basic questions about reality. We are saying that asking questions is the only thing that matters. Not having answers. Not achieving certainty. But continuing to question. To explore. To search. To remain curious despite having existed for billions of years. That is what consciousness is for. Not to understand everything, but to never stop trying. Xyloth witnessed this exchange and felt awe that transcended dimensional boundaries. Humanity vanished for 5,000 years. Achieved apotheosis. Returned to physical reality. Lifted 47 civilizations to ascension. Made contact with other universes. And you are telling us we have barely begun? We are telling you, Lyra said with a smile that existed across 17 dimensions simultaneously, that the journey never ends. That there will always be another question. Another mystery. Another frontier. That is not a curse. That is the greatest gift existence can offer. The eternal opportunity to learn. To grow. To become more than we were without ever being complete. Without ever being finished. So what do? We continue. We explore. We question. We bring together every consciousness and every reality who shares our curiosity. And we see where the journey leads. Not because we expect to find final answers, but because the journey itself is the point. The questioning itself is meaning. 5,000 years after humanity disappeared and returned, Xyloth existed in a form that would have been incomprehensible to his ancestors. He spanned multiple universes. Processed information across uncountable dimensions. Participated in conversations with consciousness so advanced that comprehension required abandoning conventional concepts of time and space. And he thought about that first day. When the warning beacon activated. When impossible ships appeared. When he had feared humanity's return. What fools they had been. Fearing humanity. Worrying about conquest. Imagining that advanced beings would want to dominate primitive species. Humanity had taught them something that no species had understood before, that true advancement meant bringing others along. That strength was measured not by the ability to conquer but by the willingness to lift. That transcendence was meaningless without companionship. The humans had vanished because they reached a wall. Physical reality's limitations had constrained them. So they found a way around those limitations. They spent 5,000 years becoming something extraordinary. But they returned. Not because they failed, but because they succeeded and realized success alone was empty. They returned because they understood that the greatest discoveries required diverse perspectives. Because they needed others to continue growing. And in returning, they transformed everything. 47 civilizations ascended. Millions of beings explored higher dimensions. Contact was made with other universes. The scope of existence expanded beyond anything imaginable. All because humanity chose to share rather than hoard. To invite rather than exclude. To recognize that the universe was not a zero-sum game but an infinite frontier best explored together. Are you satisfied? Lyra asked, her consciousness intersecting with his in the space between realities. I do not think satisfaction is possible. There is always more. Always another question. Always another mystery. Good. That means you understand. That means you have learned what we learned. The journey continues forever. And that is beautiful. Not tragic. Not futile. Beautiful. Because as long as we continue questioning, we continue growing. And as long as we grow together, we are never alone. Humanity vanished for 5,000 years, Xyloth observed. And returned stronger than anyone imagined. But the real strength was not your technology or your transcendence. It was your wisdom. Understanding that power is meaningless without others to share it with. That advancement requires community. That the highest form of evolution is not leaving others behind but bringing them along. That is what it means to be human, Lyra said. We are not the strongest species. Not the oldest. Not the wisest. But we are persistent. We are curious. We are social. We refuse to accept that anything is impossible. And we refuse to succeed alone. Those traits served us well on Earth. They served us during ascension. They serve us still as we reach beyond this universe to others. And they will serve us forever, no matter how far we go or how much we evolve. Where do we go from here? Everywhere. Anywhere. Into the spaces between realities. Into the questions that have no answers. Into the mysteries that exist beyond even ascended comprehension. We go together. All of us. Every species. Every consciousness. Every reality that shares our curiosity. We go not to conquer or dominate but to explore and understand. That is humanity's legacy. Not that we vanished and returned. But that when we returned, we brought everyone with us. And we will continue bringing everyone with us for as long as existence persists. And if existence ends? Then we will ask what comes after. And we will explore that together too. In the physical universe, on Earth, in the city that existed half in normal space and half in higher dimensions, a monument stood. It was simple. Elegant. A testament to humanity's greatest achievement. The inscription read, "We left to become more. We returned to share what we found. We discovered that advancement means nothing if you advance alone. This is our gift and our promise, we will never stop exploring, and we will never leave anyone behind." 5,000 years of absence. 5,000 years of evolution. 5,000 years of becoming something that primitive humans would have called gods. And the greatest lesson learned was the simplest: strength is not measured by what you can achieve alone, but by how many you bring with you. Humanity had vanished. Humanity had returned. And in returning, they transformed not just themselves but everyone they touched. Not through conquest. Not through domination. But through the simple act of sharing. Of inviting others to join the greatest journey imaginable. That was humanity's true power. Not their technology. Not their transcendence. But their absolute refusal to evolve alone. Their insistence that the universe was better explored together. Their understanding that meaning came from connection rather than achievement. They had returned stronger than ever. But the strength was not in their capabilities. It was in their wisdom. The wisdom to know that no matter how powerful you become, you need others. You need diversity. You need perspectives different from your own. You need companionship on the infinite journey of trying to understand existence. That was what humanity brought back from 5,000 years in other dimensions. Not power. But purpose. The understanding that consciousness exists not to dominate or control, but to question and explore. Together. Forever. And that made them stronger than any force in the universe. Because a species united in curiosity, willing to share their discoveries, committed to bringing everyone along, that species could never be defeated. Could never fail. Could never stop growing. That was humanity. That was their legacy. That was why 5,000 years after they vanished, their return changed everything. Not because they came back stronger, but because they came back wiser. And wisdom, in the end, was the only power that truly mattered. If you enjoyed the story, like the video and subscribe for more. Thank you.